All right. So a definition then does not have to be a definition of um, what the thing physically is or what its specific or technical reality is. A definition can be a definition that is contingent on how you feel about it or what it is in this environment. A definition can be either technical or it can capture the power of a thing. All right, so let's look at the next one. A big one. Love. Well, love. Now, your essay is only going to be a couple of pages long. Do you really think you could define love in 2 pages, 3 pages? Probably not. So, what are you going to do? I mean, besides that, how could any person really define love? I mean, love is so varied, it's so complex, and honestly, in many occasions, it's so contradictory. I mean, it contains feelings and ideas which are the opposite of each other. So, how are you going to define love in a couple, 3 pages? But consider this: why not define sisterly love, or motherly love, or the love of one soldier for his comrade? Well, love in those situations is much more contained, much more understandable, and not so completely subjective based on just what one person thinks. It's tied to the world out there, and that's what English 1102 is going to be doing much more. In English 1101, you spent the entire time pretty much writing about you, right? It was your view of the world, your view of you, your experiences, you know, some story you're telling. Here, it ain't about you. It's about the sense you make of the outside world. Remember me talking about the thesis and how the thesis is an observation you make, and then the sense you make, your interpretation of the significance of that observation, right? It's you looking at something out in the world and making some sense of it. So here it's not about you in the sense that you're not the subject, but it is about you in the sense it's in your considered, cautious, logical, critically apt interpretation of the world. So with a topic like love, how are you going to define that where it's not just you talking about you and your feelings? And honestly, unless you're doing a memoir or you're blogging, nobody much cares. Certainly not out in the professional world. But if you can identify a phenomenon out there like sisterly love and come up with a clear definition of it, then you're developing the skills that are going to be transferable to the outside world. So contain your definition. Don't define this whole big Megillah of an idea. Narrow it down. Pick some corner of it and define that, and that'll be much more powerful. Let's do one more. Here's a pretty complex term, art. You think, well, that's not all that complex, art. Most people would say that art can be anything we find that we take pleasure in or find moving. Art can be what our 3rd grader brings home from school, and we love it. Go, oh, Jimmy, that's so gorgeous. Oh, it's awesome. And you put it on the refrigerator, and that's art. And probably many of you are listening to this thinking, yeah, that's right. You know, what my little sister brings home, that's art. And my response to that is, really? Well, here's the thing. If art is anything a person says moves them, then, you know, is this pen art? Is the mouse of my computer art? Is this mug art? No, what if I tell you it moves me? Does that make it art? No, all right, so it gets pretty complex. Is art, you know, if I walk out my back door, I'll be able to find a pile of dog poo out there that I need to pick up. If I just put it on the counter and say, hey, honey, wife, it's art. Do you think she's going to buy into that? No. All right, so art is more complex than just saying it's whatever you find pleasure in, or art's in the eye of the beholder. Does it require skill? I don't know. So I'm not saying that the pleasure you take in your 3rd grader sister's or child's school artwork, that it's not incredibly valuable. What I'm saying is that when you define a term like art, you are creating a whole worldview about the way reality works. definitions have consequences. If what your third grader does is art, then why the heck do you go to museums? And why the heck do you go see movies? Why not just have your third grader tell you a story? So art's complex. And when you define art, you affect the way the world works. Definitions have incredible power. Uh, so, and certainly your definition of art is going to end up saying as much or more about you than it does about art itself. And so I'll last one. Consider a term like respect. Well, how do you define respect? Well, some would say, and I have students who tell me all the time, respect means being treated nicely. Well, what if you have done something which suggests you need to be treated other than nicely? Maybe if I treat my students nicely, maybe I'm treating them like children. Maybe I'm acting as if they can't handle the challenge and the truth that comes with being a university student. So maybe my treating a student with respect is treating them like an adult who has to face tough things sometimes, has to face their own limitations, has to face the fact that they've produced substandard work. Am I respecting them if they produce substandard work and I tell them how wonderful they are? Probably not. Actually, I'm probably condescending to them and showing them disrespect. So respect is a complex term, and how you define it says a lot about how you want the world to be, how you want to be treated. And so as you go about picking a topic to define, pick a topic that isn't just something that the equivalent that you can define in the same way you can look it up in a dictionary to define it. Pick a topic that's important out in the real world, but which you can define some aspect of it or some corner of it or pick an angle on it and talk about why that matters. What is that phenomenon? What is that term, that idea? You know, define the importance of the automobile in America. Define motherly love. Define, here's one for you. Think about NCAA football. Define equal playing field. Define the Bowl Championship Series, which is clearly not an equal playing field. So no matter what your area is of interest, you'll be able to find some topic that's complex and that has implications and has consequences out in the world. Define that. That'll be interesting. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to reading what you got. And that's the end of this lecture.